Hello everybody and welcome. In this video we're going to take a look at a word search that is in a real current treasure hunt called There's Treasure Inside. I did another video and I'll link it there. There's some other puzzle that I have there, but basically there's 5 different treasures hidden. There are 4 chapters on 4 of the smaller ones, and there's one bigger treasure as well. They're somewhere in the United States. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of puzzling, and to me, I think it's pretty well done. Now, there's a lot more that you could go into talking about this, but in this video, I just wanted to cover a way that you could put this into a spreadsheet and help work with a word search. Now, I know others had this idea as well. In the specific chapter that this actual word search was in, it said something on the lines of, this is a game I'm pretty sure you can excel at. And to me, I was like, well, Excel, spreadsheets, let's put this in a spreadsheet. And there's probably more that you have to do than just this. And this isn't even a solution. This is just some resources to help get you started. And hopefully my goal and my desire in this video is that if you're not doing this hunt yet, that you would want to, that you find it interesting. Now, I'm not going to go through this whole thing here. Really, this is if you just downloaded a copy of it and you want text to read. I'm pretty much just going to go through this in the video, so you can ignore all of this outside of one. If you want to join, buy a book. I would definitely encourage you to go to this website, and on there you can find links to the actual book. There are some fake books out there, so really make sure that you are paying attention to what you're purchasing. All of the links on this will be the direct ones that the author put out there. So again, get the book if you want to join. Now, to start off with, let's go to the word search. This is a word search that he put out there as a clue, as a puzzle to find one of the treasures. So in that, one thing I found that would be helpful, at least to me, was to be able to highlight it. So with it, inside the spreadsheet, you can go to format and you can add conditional formatting rules. Basically, this allows you to highlight or change the color of certain things based off of a criteria. And so in this one, I actually made it so that if any of this text here, it says A1, but it'll apply to A1 all the way to T15. If it equals what's in Y3, Z3, and it's all the way to AX3, to highlight it this green color. And so what happens is that when you select a letter, it'll highlight all of those letters inside of this word search. And again, if you were paying attention, it was Y all the way there. And you might ask, why not X? Well, I have it grouped here. So if you push that, you can expand. And you can see, if I push A, it actually gets moved to Y. If I push another one, which is multiple criteria in Google Sheets, it'll then go to B. I can put G, I can put D, and so on. And it'll highlight all of those. What's going on is it's actually splitting it by that delimiter. Now, I'm not going to go too much into multiple selections in dropdowns, but essentially, whenever you click multiple ones, it adds a comma and a space, which is called a delimiter. And so what this is doing is it's going to split the text anytime it sees this, and then it'll go into a new cell. So make sure to not mess with this formula, because if you do, all of this rule will get broken. I'm just doing Control-Z to undo. Really, just use this. When you're done with those or you want to change the highlights, you can either remove something from up here like that, or you can just go into that and press delete. You might have to actually do delete key versus the backspace key, so just keep that in mind. Now, I have 2 colors, and the reason for that is like if you're looking for a specific word or you want to see a specific group of lettering, to me, it helps to have like the first letter or the last letter highlighted a different color. What I mean by that, let's say we're looking for the word 3, and spoiler, it is in here. T, H, and then it'll be R and E. I'm just going to do the E first. So this would highlight everything that has 3 in it. And you might be able to find it, and it works. But to me, going in here, and I'm just going to remove the T, having the first letter highlighted differently helps find, okay, where is it? Because like here, there's not enough. It's not going to be 3. Here, there's a 3. for here. This could be 3. It's almost 3, but not quite. And then, oh, here's another 3. So that just helps me with looking at different words and being able to find, different components to it. So I'm just going to clear all of this by using the delete key. Now, the last thing that I'll go in this one before I go into the next tabs, and, may or may not mean anything. For treasure hunting, I always know maps have an X. I find it interesting. There's one X in this entire thing, and there's 300. There's one X. X mark the spot? Maybe. Is it mix? Maybe. I actually don't know, but I just found that interesting. So there you are, little nugget of info. Now, this next part is the decoder. And if you watched my other video on this hunt, I used the decoder for a different substitute cipher that also was in the book. And basically what this does is it substitutes the letters with other ones. Now, what is going on here is first, this here is going to be looking up the word search. So it's going to go to the word search, A1, which is this one right here. So it's going to have a Q. And that's going to look up this range here, starting at A2. And it's going to go all the way down. So it's just looking in column A. And then based off of this number here, it's going to actually pull the data if it's found. And what I mean by pulling the data is that if this Q is found in the alphabet, which of course it will be, then it's going to pull the column, which is number 1. So in this data, it's saying we're looking up a Q and we're in column 1. So Q is here. And it found it. It's right here. So it's going to then bring back Q because we chose number 1. Now, let's say that we want to switch this. Instead of Q, well, it'll still look up the Q, but let's say that we want to go one more space. So we want to go and find all Qs and change it into Rs. Again, it goes Q, R, so that's going to be number 2. So all the Qs, when I switch it to 2, will then switch to R. You can see there, it just switched. Same for the next one. Number 3 would be S, 4 will be T, and so on and so forth. I also included over here a function called countIf, and it's just going to count if the letters are here and how many of them. So right now in this one, there's only one A, and then B, there's 4 Bs. I also created a little bit more of a complex query function that's basically taking this data here, and really all it's doing is it's sorting it. So whichever one has the highest count, which right now is H, has 43, it's going to be on the top instead of in A to Z order. So, again, you can use those if that's helpful. Now I'm going to go back to the normal one here. This is 1. So again, 1 is always the one that it's going to look up. But I left some spaces here. Really all I did is I went A to Z here, and then I had numbers. And then I kind of left just like 28 is the same as of now. 29, I switched it to basically A and Z switch, Y and B switch, and so on. Because again, that might be something. And then 30 is just kind of random ones. So it might be that there's a certain order that you need to switch these in, and there are certain words, who knows. Again, this isn't necessarily part of it. I just, for me, wanted to make a tool that kind of helped, figure out if there's some sort of pattern or some sort of method where you have to change these. So if you want to, you can actually switch this to let's say 30, which is kind of an extra one with random stuff. And we can see here there's DAC that's starting off. And so here, let's say like this D, we could make this 23. A, we can make it 34. C, let's just do 55. And all that I'm doing here is just showing now all of those ones have switched to what I inputted. So maybe you have a theory where you have to switch all of them to O's or all of them to X's or, whatever. This allows you to do that. And you may notice that these ones have highlighted. I believe I have a conditional formatting rule for something I was looking at. Let's see. Yep. So if it's empty, it'll be orange. If it's there, And if you don't want it to highlight like that, you can delete it if you want. But I just did that to kind of help show weird numbers are, or if it's a missing one. If you open this up too, when I originally created this, I left it open to be able to, I do other different treasure hunts, or, I've used this with other things. The first time I used this, I wanted to be able to just basically put in something like a longer passage or wording and be able to get it back out. So really this stuff is unnecessary, but I just left it in there because I would have to change some of the functions that I have, formulas. So I didn't want to do that. This here, I just basically grouped the lines together. Again, it made a little bit more sense for like putting a sentence into this versus a crossword, but I figured to leave it. But if you do delete all this, it's not going to make a difference. I'm just going to keep it myself, but trying to go through kind of what's going on here. Yeah, so I don't want those. So I'm actually going to just Control Z to undo all of these actions just to make sure we get this back to where it's at. So there we are. That's really the long explanation of these things. Hopefully, if you're one that's on the treasure hunting side, you learned something about spreadsheets. If you're on the spreadsheet side, hopefully you found something interesting about this treasure hunt. Again, it is fun. I've spent probably too much time on this, but I think more doing this in my downtime than like watching an episode of something or whatever. But again, hopefully you find this interesting. Leave some comments if you have questions on this outside of like, where's the treasure? Because I don't know. If I knew, I wouldn't be making this video. I would be going boots on the ground, finding this treasure. But anyway, feel free to leave those comments, those social things, subscribing, sharing, whatever. It does help out, but I mean, again, you do you. Hopefully this helps you in your hunt. And yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye now.